Okay, so now we're going to take a look at selling more. And bottom line, Bill, I think one of the things that we've seen with so many authors is that they think they need just a web page, but really they need a plan, which is true for fiction and nonfiction.
Well, it's right, Diane, and this is where a lot of authors have trouble because they write a book and they think to themselves, "Oh, if I had a traditional publisher, they'd be doing all this for me." Well, traditional publishers do not do this for you anymore. I don't know if they ever did, but in today's marketplace, as an author, you're responsible for creating demand for your books and your other products that you have. It's not difficult to do, but it all starts with a plan. And people think to themselves, okay, I'll put a website up and I'll do book signings and that sort of thing, and everything's going to be great. That's not how it works. First of all, for the most part, book signings are a complete waste of time at bookstores. What are the chances that someone's going to walk in looking for your type of book and then say, "Oh, I'll buy it from this person"? It's one thing if you have a plan and you say, "Hey, listen, I'm going to call bookstores. I'm going to get them to bring me out and do a talk," and people are enticed by that idea, and then they come to hear that talk, then they buy. That's a whole different story, but that's having a plan. I mean, that's people having a plan, and that's really important. And today's marketplace, you need to build a list, you need to build a community, and you need a plan for that. And that's what we're going to talk about in this section real briefly.
Exactly. But there is a big selling secret that people really need to know.
Yeah, if you want to get a real leg up on selling your book, and again, your reason for writing a book may not be to sell it, but almost everybody who writes a book wants people to read it. So just getting it into the hands of fans, you still need a plan for that. And you need to know the big selling secret. And the big selling secret is this. If you want to sell something, you need to know who's buying it. And people don't think about that. And so they write these books that no one's going to buy. And you got to understand. Now, Diane, for example, take the romance novel market. People who buy romance novels buy lots of romance novels.
Exactly.
That's a great market. But if you write, science fiction romance, there may not be as much of a market for that. Or you write something completely new, there may not be a market for it. And so you've got to find out what people want. It goes back to our whole thing of sick people don't buy books about health. Hypochondriacs buy books about health. You got to know who your market is and who you're writing for.
Exactly. So let's take a look. And actually, in your Write Fast, Publish Cheap, and Sell More, you have 4 really good examples of people that had a book dream but didn't have a plan. And you take them, the readers through these individuals and how they turn that around.
Yeah, so get into the book, folks. Get in there and read this stuff, real specifically. But this is what this is all about. It's all about needing a plan. I give you 4 examples there of people who just didn't have plans and what they could do to change that. So you get in there and read that because that plan is everything. And the plan, they're easy to write. And don't forget, you can always change them.
Yeah, and I think really, again, what are they doing with their plan? It's they're building a community. And I think as you reinforced for me many times, you're not selling a book, you're building a community of readers, buyers, and influencers.
Yeah, readers, buyers, influencers. You want people who are going to read your book, but honestly, who cares? You want people who are going to buy your book, which is more important than having readers, is to have buyers. This is how you create a sustainable business, and we want you all to have sustainable book dreams here. And influencers, these are people, maybe they have a blog, maybe they run a book club, maybe they're wholesalers. I sell a lot of my books through wholesalers, and they then have people who are on Book of the Month clubs, that sort of thing. These are influencers. I sell to them, and it's all sales, folks. And I know a lot of people don't like selling because they think of selling as being somehow dishonest. But remember, selling is problem solving.
And that's really what you're doing, is you're creating selling relationships with these people in the sense that, yes, you're going to take your money or their money away from them, which, your mother told you weren't supposed to do. But the bottom line is, they want to get something of value to get their problem solved. And as you said, whether it's nonfiction or fiction, you're solving a problem for them, and people will pay good money to get the problem solved. So
yeah, remember, folks, fiction, you're solving entertainment problems. Nonfiction, you're solving education or how-to problems. So we want to find out what the pain is and really help people understand that you can solve that pain for them. And you build a community around that. Basically, you do it these days by building a list of people. You acquire email addresses, names, that sort of thing. And that's how you build it up. And then you market to those people. You're not creating friendship relationships. You're creating selling relationships because you are now in the process of selling. You're solving their problems and taking their money.
And truly, Bill, that's what you did here. Your secret system, as you say, it's not really secret, right?
Yeah, I mean, one of the reasons now, folks, understand that the books that I write, when I tell you I've written 19 books, I don't include any of these books I write for authors. These are all the books I wrote for my readers all around the world who are buying my books. They're all nonfiction. They're all life-changing, personal growth, wealth development books. All right, and I got a loyal group of people, but I built that up. But I also write books for authors, and one of the reasons I write books for authors is because I want the money. And so I'm trading what I know by solving your problems. You're giving me money. So, the big selling secret is you got to find people who are willing to buy and sell them what they need and want. And that's what you're doing with your books as well.
Exactly. So, and in your secret system, which again I highly recommend from someone who's gone through the process, you have 5 steps in your secret system, which is segment, target, intercept, position, and execute. So let's talk just a little bit about each one.
We're going to touch on these for you, folks, because it's all covered for you. Segmenting the market's really huge, and you've got to find groups within that market. And in my secret system book, I use the best cream pie company of Philadelphia. They're selling to 2 different kinds of people. One group eats banana cream pies, and one group throws banana cream pies in other people's faces. These are 2 different segments. They're both buyers, but they buy and use the product differently. So that's what we're doing here. I show you how to do that. Segmenting the market is very important. Second, you're going to target. You're going to pick which one is your most important segment. So, for example, Diane, if someone writes a novel, and let's say they write a romance novel. Remember I told you about the one woman I worked with she wrote a romance novel, and she was targeting men because she thought
right.
Men would like to improve their relationships with women. Well, of course they want to, but not for the same reasons women want to improve their relationships with men, and men do not read romance novels, so it was silly to target them. It was just plain silly. So we talk about who you're going to target first. Can you reach that market? In other words, are they accessible? How big is that market? All that kind of stuff. And that's your targeting. Your next step is positioning.
Intercepting. And
intercepting, I'm
because,
sorry, yeah.
I mean, that's going to be a little different. I mean, in the sense that, used to intercept people maybe at a bookstore, but hey, my Borders has been closed now for months. You're
intercepting them when they're making the buying decision or when they're getting ready to make the buying decision. You need to know this about your market. Where do they buy? Are they going to find you from a Google keyword search, in which case you've got to be positioned on Google in order to build that community, So that's a great thing. And then the next part is positioning.
Yeah, positioning, right.
Mm-hmm. And this is where you're going to have everything about your book, the pricing of your book, the places it's available, all that kind of. It's a little bit different than intercepting because this is capturing mental real estate. Folks, picture a person's head, and you want to capture mental real estate with your positioning. And there's some easy things to do. You can do with this. This is not complicated. It takes some work, but you have to understand these processes.
Exactly. And then the bottom line, we've talked about plans. You've got to write plans and then actually act on them.
Yeah, so that's the whole thing, is writing your plans and then executing them. And it's very easy to write plans, but you need to know how to do it. And everything that you write is geared towards either segmenting, targeting, intercepting, or positioning.
And, if you're sitting there and thinking that it seems like a lot of work, well, you do need to take the time to do it. And I think, unfortunately, a lot of people want to write the book and have it fly off the shelves or out of, the Amazon inventory there. But the bottom line is you need to compete, not just write.
Yeah, you've got to put some time into this, and you got to be smart about it. Otherwise, you're going to be spending lots of time with no results. And so we're about to give you some tips that'll help you do this really quickly.
Yeah, and the bottom line is you use this formula every time, and you got to stay focused on what you ultimately want, whether it's money or success of some kind or the satisfaction. Bottom line, though, is do what people have done that have been successful, like Bill, and it'll work for you.
My sixth book that I wrote that became a bestseller, I started using this system for that, and I've used it for every book. The last 13 books, I've used it for all that, and almost all of them have been bestsellers.
And just as a quick reminder, the nice thing about your on-demand publisher is that they really do channel cheaply for you, and to keep that in mind.
Yeah, they get you on all the channels you need to be on, plus they give you a website of your own, a sales page. They take care of all the e-commerce for you, all the shipping, all the handling, all the management of things, which then frees you up, and it's a really great thing. And it's amazing how little they take, as opposed to a traditional publisher, where you won't see any money for 2.5 years, that you get lost in their list. Here, you're driving the list. It's a fantastic way to publish.
Right. So they take care of all those details for you, so that you can concentrate on some of these hot tips we're going to give you.
Here we go.
Okay. So number one, get tools and use them. Yes, you do need a website.
Yeah, you need a website, but you need a website that isn't just a generic website. This is one that gets people to take action. You need what we call squeeze pages. Squeeze pages are where you collect names and email addresses, and you give them something of value for that. You need to use those tools. You need to use your Facebook and your Twitter to build that community. And don't worry about doing it all at once. Take your time with it. Build your community slowly, but build it.
Exactly. And then and Bill goes in, I think you've got close to 20 tips in the Write Fast Publish.
I did.
There's more, so we're just going over a few, but certainly the media is something to leverage. Sponsors are an opportunity for leveraging.
Speaking of the media, Diane, I see so many people that, I got on 10 radio shows. Yeah, that's okay, but did it result in any sales? In other words, you've got to have some plan in place for when you get media, whether it's through your PR or whether it's through your radio or TV or whatever you're doing. When you get that media, it's got to lead someplace. It's got to lead towards building this list, and then you market to that list.
All right, and I think you've got to be able to assess what you're doing and see if it works for you. So do you want to keep on doing that, or do you need to change
Which is
plan?
all part of that plan. The plan includes an evaluation portion in it.
Exactly. The gift market, I think a huge tip there.
This is so big, and particularly if you're publishing your book on Kindle, did you know that there's a gift thing on Kindle where you can send people a book on Kindle, or your buyers can send books on Kindle. And it doesn't even matter if the person that they send it to has a Kindle.
You just send them a link.
Yeah, you send them a link, then they can download something to their computer.
Mm-hmm.
They can download the Kindle Reader to their computer, and it actually comes with that gift. And it comes, so they get an email with a gift box in it. It's a great thing. People love to give books as gifts. Think about it. What do books do? They solve problems. People love to give gifts that solve problems.
Exactly. So, and some of the other tips, in terms of writing more than one book, I think, again, remember that you don't have to write a long book. Plan to write several books and break up your content. There's other products that you can develop that are derivative products, such as webinars and audios. And, people, if they like what you offer, they're going to want more from you. So
what we're doing right now is a great example of a derivative product where, people get excited about what we do, and we get to help them more. And if you're writing a series of books, you think, it's so much trouble to write one book. Well, think about writing one book and then write some real short books for Kindle.
There you go.
They can be 20, 25 pages. You sell them for 99 cents. But guess what? It drives people into your camp. And you build in things in there where you say, hey, you want more? Go to this website. Or you want more? Give me your name and email address.
So before we go, and again, there are more tips that you offer, I know, but one of your newest ones that isn't, I think, in the Write Fast Publish Even Some More is your friends and family plan, because you came up with that relatively recently.
I did do that, and the friends and family plan is this, folks. You have an email list already built up, and where that is, it's whatever email program you've been using for the last 15 years. There are hundreds and maybe 1,000 or more names and email addresses in there of people who already know you. In other words, you go to your contact file there, and these are people that you've had communication with. And what I did, Diane, was I hired a college student to go through there. And what she did was she said start a new email, and then she typed in the letter A, and then all the contacts I have that begin with the letter A dropped down there, right. And she typed them all into an Excel spreadsheet for me. I ended up with, even after I cleaned the list out of people who no longer had that email address, I had over 1,000 names.
That's amazing.
It was so great. And then I started emailing them, and that's how by the way, how I drove my Happy Leap Year book to an Amazon bestseller list. The Friends and Family Plan is an outstanding way to get started.
It really is. So the bottom line is these are just a few of the tips that Bill offers, and the bottom line is that selling is just important as writing, but it doesn't have to be hard. It can be fun.
It can really be fun. And when you start developing fans and they start sending you letters and emails, and you get that feedback, and you're getting people do reviews of your books on Amazon, it's just great. It's what a great feeling it is, because you know what? Now, folks, you're an author.
Exactly. And I think, and just as a quick bonus tip, I love this. Build a funnel and stop worrying about the one that got away.
Yeah, funnel. Think about what a funnel looks like. It's wide at the top, narrow at the bottom. You want attractors that bring people into your sphere of influence. And that could be, you could write articles, you could do short books, you could do talks, you could do webinars like this, you could, have squeeze pages, all these things that, give free giveaways of stuff that you're trading names and email addresses for, and then you develop those customers. You give them more and more they can buy from you, so they get more and more hooked into you, which is exactly what you want. 20% of your customers will celebrate you. 80% will go away. Let them go. Don't worry about that. Don't worry about people dropping off your list. And let them go, because the 20% that celebrate you, what you want to do is you want to build that 20%. So instead of it being 20% of 10 people, it's 20% of 1,000 people, and then 20% of 5,000 people. And that's where you really start to enjoy this life of being an author. And that's what the secret system is all about. And it's what the Sell More system section is all about in Write Fast, Publish Cheap, and Sell More.
So we covered a lot of information here, I know. So I know, Bill, you've been very generous with your time, and that if people want to contact you, your email's there, bill@quain.com.
And here's something for people. Listen, folks, we just come up with a new program, Diane and I, and it's guaranteed to make you an Amazon best-selling author. Guaranteed, or your money back. If you're interested in that, send me an email, and we'll tell you more about that.
Yeah, and in fact, even if they don't have a book, we've got a plan for that too.
You don't have a book? We have a plan where we're putting together a group of authors who are going to do a chapter each. And by the way, you don't even need to write it, because what we do is we have a system where we interview you, and we have books called Conversations With. We have conversations with leaders. We have conversations with great examples. We have conversations with health coaches, all that kind of stuff. So it actually doesn't even involve any writing, and we still make you an Amazon bestselling author. And that brand, by the way, folks, lives forever. Mm-hmm. Once you do it once, you're an Amazon bestselling author for the rest of your life.
There you go. So, well, this has been a real pleasure. And remember, write fast, publish cheap, sell more.
Bye, folks.
Over now.